there, this is Wink Martindale, and you're listening to TV Confidential.
From New York, it's the Merv Griffin Show.
Ed Robertson welcoming you to TV Confidential, radio talk show about television that will welcome Richard Pryor Jr. in our second hour. Richard Pryor Jr., eldest son of iconic comedian Richard Pryor, and a man whose self-described freakish life paralleled that of his famous father in more ways than you can imagine. Richard Pryor Jr. will join us in our second hour. We hope you'll stay tuned for that. Also joining us in our second hour will be Audrey Walters. Audrey has a major supporting role in the new Netflix original motion picture, Walk, Ride, Rodeo. We hope you'll stay tuned for that as well. In the meantime, Phil Gries is with us for another edition of The Sounds of Lost Television. Phil Gries, of course, founder and owner of Archival Television Audio, the largest vintage television soundtrack archive in the world, featuring more than 15,000 hours from more than 15,000 original television programs, television newscasts, television specials from the 50s, 60s, early 1970s, all of which are peerless. For more information, atvaudio.com. Tonight, Phil Gries has put together highlights from the short-lived but critically acclaimed version of the Merv Griffin Show that originally aired on NBC daytime television between October 62 and March 1963, a show that not only brought a Tonight Show sensibility to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but which won approval from critics, intellectuals, and college students, many of whom scheduled their lunch hours around watching Merv's show at 2 o'clock local time, when originally aired in 62 to early 63. Phil has selected highlights from some of the more notable segments of that 6-month run, including the very rare and notable appearance of actor Montgomery Clift. We'll play that and more in just a segment. Phil, always good to have you on our program.
It's always good to participate with you and to reminisce.
Also with us is Steve Randisi. Steve is a longtime television historian. His latest book is The Merv Griffin Show, The Inside Story, a complete history of the Merv Griffin Show on television from its premiere on NBC in 1962 and how that stemmed from Merv's appearances as guest host of the Jack Paar Tonight Show to the backstage tensions, booking disasters, conversation triumphs, and the never-ending race for ratings that is always part of the TV landscape. Steve's book is not a biography of Merv, but it does provide you with insight into who Merv Griffin was as a person, as a producer, and as a media mogul whose success spanned the world of variety television, game shows, and, of course, real estate. Steve Randisi, also good to have you back on our program.
Thank you.
Let's see. We've talked before when you were on, Phil, that you were always interested in capturing iconic moments of what you anticipated to be iconic moments of television long before other people did. What was it about the daytime Merv Griffin Show that decided I need to have this in my collection?
I always loved talk shows. I used to tape Jack Paar a lot. I just enjoyed, and High Gardner. I actually audio recorded Montgomery Clift when he appeared on the High Gardner Show. Like Steve, I'm fascinated by how talk shows really were a mirror to our culture. And especially years ago, a talk show really had the focus of really getting to know the guest, more than just a flashy, just the movie I'm in, and let's play a game of cards. That's what I get today. I'm very little interested in talk shows today. It's all about the host. It's all about, the clip. And the guest appears, for 6 minutes, and I hardly get to know anything about that guest other than what they're selling. But that was not the case in the 50s and 60s. A guest came on, and they might be on for 16, 18, 20 minutes. And there were questions usually by the host that would go into their childhood, their original incentives, their philosophy. That appealed to me, and I would always look for particular stereophonic tape recorder.
And what's interesting is, with respect to Merv and his NBC daytime show, that came about at a time when the talk show as a form was really beginning to, come on its own. And going back to a point that you make in your book, Steve, it was one of the few times in Merv's career at that point that he was in the right place at the right time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, it's explained in the book, and it's also in Merv's 3 books, his 3 volumes of autobiography. Jack Parr accidentally wandered onto his set while he was taping Play Your Hunch, and the two of them had an exchange. And Parr took a liking to Merv because he figured he's a great ad-libber, and he might be good as a fill-in host, as a sub-host. And so he invited him to appear as a guest host on The Tonight Show, and that's something that Merv had been hoping for because, like everybody else, he was a huge fan of Jack Parr and The Tonight Show. So that was his entree to the world of talk shows via the Parr Show. And then from there, he did the summer fill-ins and then got his own show on NBC.
In one of the broadcasts of Merv's show on NBC included Jonathan Winters,
yeah,
which is another connection between Merv and Parr. And in this clip that we're about to play, this is Jonathan Winters around the time of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. Correct, Phil?
Yeah, and Johnny had just recently gotten out of a sanatorium. I was always a big Jonathan Winters fan. He just cracked me up. I have more on him than almost any other comic or comedian. And I believe it's the only time he appeared with Merv Griffin on his NBC show. And this was a doozy with Carol Channing on the panel.
If I may,
Yeah.
I would like to introduce right now. Have you met Jonathan?
I did backstage. I kneeled down and met him.
Well, maybe they can explain that when they get out here together.
Yeah.
One of our great comics in America, and somebody that nobody will ever be able to copy because he is the original, and that's about the nicest thing you can say about anybody. He started a whole school of comedy, and it's standing room only wherever Jonathan Winters plays, and it's that way here today. I'm delighted to welcome him back to New York and to have him as a guest here. He's a movie star now. Would you all welcome Jonathan Winters?
Good afternoon, sport fans. Got a little snow here in the Tournament of Roses. Please, Paul, put that down. We're on the air. I've just...
Tournament of Roses.
This always... are you getting ready for the...
Oh, yeah. Well, we get the day off.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah, New Year's Day.
I've had as much as a year off, Merv.
You've been out there in that little old Hollywood making motion pictures.
Well, I had a ball. It's the first one. Might be the last.
How many mads are there in the title?
4.
It's a mad world.
And they just completed it just before Christmas.
Yeah.
I think it was just at the end of November.
I was scared to death you weren't going to get back here for Christmas.
I was kind of uneasy.
Yeah, I can't see you out there in all that sunshine. I like to see Jonathan Winters in New York.
I like it here, and I love it there, too.
To have Christmas here at home?
Oh, yes. Got a wonderful broken tree.
What was it like up there, John?
Well, it was cold.
At the house?
Oh, it was wonderful.
Christmas?
Had my mother-in-law's with me.
Yeah.
And, a little closer.
Yeah.
Hey. Make the needle bend. Boy, they're shouting to the engineer. Oh. But, let's see. The room was just alive with children. And we took all the pictures down, put the good things away. And, the toys they got lasted about 26 seconds, I timed it.
That doesn't work anymore.
Jonathan Winters, along with Carol Channing, on the December 27th, 1962 edition of the Merv Griffin Daytime Talk Show that Merv hosted on NBC between October 62 and March 29th, 1963. Audio courtesy Phil Gries, ATVaudio.com. TV.com. Steve, Phil mentioned this was Winter's only appearance on the NBC daytime show. Did he appear on any of the other versions of Merv Show?
He may have been on the CBS one. I'm not sure. But I don't think he did the Westinghouse show in New York. It's interesting, though, to hear Carol Channing on that because she was Merv's opening guest on the Westinghouse show in May of 1965. She was the premier guest when she was doing Hello Dolly right next door to Merv's Theater on 44th Street. So that's interesting because she came out on roller skates and she skated her way from the St. James Theater to the Little Theater where Merv taped. Winters, though, I don't ever recall seeing him on the other two subsequent series, but I'm not sure because the guest list, I mean, we're talking about 25,000 guests.
Yeah. Well,
over a period of 23 or 24 years, so.
Well, let me throw the question to Phil because Phil is the Winters aficionado amongst us.
To my knowledge, that was it. And it's interesting because you would have thought that he would have been on with Merv many more times. If you listen to the complete program, Merv is feeding him constantly and letting him go, rampant. As we all know, he did many dozens and scores of shows with Jack Parr. He hosted the Jack Parr. He substituted for him, many times. He was on with Carson many times. He was with other talk show hosts. But for whatever reason, this seems to be the one time.
Somebody was asking me not too long ago if Lucille Ball had ever appeared on Merv's Westinghouse show. And surprisingly, the answer is no. The earliest appearance that I could find for her was during the CBS era, and then she made multiple appearances during the Metro Media era. But nothing on NBC and nothing on Westinghouse for Lucy.
I'm just thinking aloud here, Steve. She was doing the Lucy show on CBS at the time of the NBC show.
Right.
And that was back in the day when networks were a little more particular about plugging anything on another network. In fact, they would not even mention the network's name. They would say on another network.
It's interesting, though, that Merv had Carol Burnett on his Westinghouse show in 1965, and she was doing a special for CBS, and the network wouldn't allow her to perform that material on Merv's syndicated show because it was going to air on the network.
What is interesting, Steve, is that I audio recorded and aired Lucille Ball with her children does in Little Lucy, and I met Lucy on that and gave her a copy of the tape. When you found substituting for Jack Parr in December of 1960, and Lucille Ball appears on The Tonight Show.
On The Tonight Show, yeah. But on Merv's show, I didn't track her down until Merv went to CBS. And as Ed mentioned, Lucy was on CBS and Merv was on CBS. Interesting thing to point out as a matter of trivia is that the Lucy show, when Lucille Ball returned to network television, it was October 1, 1962, which also happened to be the premiere date of the Merv Griffin Show and The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. So October 1st, 1962 is a very significant marker in the annals of television because you had Lucy coming back to television and you had Merv and Johnny.
And you're leaving out someone.
October 1, 62?
Yeah, the first talk show host on television, Bill Franklin.
Oh, okay, on the local front. Yeah.
He goes back to 1951 on Channel 7, and switched over to WOR on October 1st, 1962. So you had Griffin, you had Franklin, and you had Carson all debut on the same day.
Joe Franklin is probably the first TV talk show. He's like the granddaddy of
He's the granddaddy. I got to know him in his last 4 years, and I really appreciated our relationship.
Did you ever visit his office?
Many times. We had dinner together a number of times. He was so down to earth and so scattered. He was totally scattered. I mean, it took about 10 minutes to walk in through that front door to get to his chair. Yeah. This guy made Stanford and Son look like they were living, pristine lives in terms of being in Park Avenue. I don't know how he did it. He had everything from the floor to the ceiling.
I loved him. He was great.
Phil Gries is with us as we take a look at the short-lived but critically acclaimed daytime talk show that Merv Griffin hosted for NBC television between October 1962 and March 1963 as part of the Sounds of Lost Television. In many respects, the NBC Merv Griffin Show catapulted Merv's career, paving the way for his iconic run and first run syndication, first for Westinghouse, then for Metro Media, while also cementing his relationship with NBC, the network for which Merv created the long-running game shows Jeopardy! And Wheel of Fortune. Phil has audio soundtracks of approximately 30 episodes of the NBC Merv Griffin Show, none of which are available in any form anywhere else. For more information, go to atvaudio.com. Also with us is Steve Randisi. Steve's book, The Merv Griffin Show, The Inside Story, is a complete history of the Merv Griffin Show on television that also provides a capsule history of late-night television in general. The Merv Griffin Show, The Inside Story, is available in hardcover and in softcover through BearManorMedia.com, Amazon.com, and wherever books are sold online.
Another thing that we didn't touch upon, I'll mention it just briefly, is that on NBC, Merv had a variety of guest conductors. They couldn't decide on an orchestra leader.
Right, those were great weeks.
Yeah, so Count Basie and Peter Nero and a number of other big band leaders at the time would come in and do Duke Ellington. They would come in and do a week's worth of shows, and Merv would have instead of having a regular orchestra leader, he had a guest conductor every week, and they were some of the top names in the business. So I just wanted to mention that. One
of the guest conductors, so to speak, was Hugh Downs.
Yes, exactly. He performed a song, right, exactly, that he had written.
And an original composition called Sandwriting, which Hugh Downs performed on the January 14th, 1963 edition of the NBC daytime talk show hosted by Merv Griffin. We're going to listen to that right now.
Today, television first. I'm happy about it. Hugh was very nervous about it. But some time ago when I used to do Play Your Hunch, Hugh came on one day to present a problem to the panel. Which one of these three songs did he write? And that was the first time that I ever knew that Hugh Downs was a composer. And I wondered what it would be like, the melody, the composition, and it was beautiful, Hugh.
Thank you.
So today he adds another laurel to his career. He's going to conduct the NBC Orchestra.
And in the same thing, and I am nervous. I'm not just kidding, because I never did that before this morning. I tried it to rehearse. But I found that unlike when you conduct records, you don't... You follow the records, but these guys follow you. And if you start to slow down, they slow down. And the whole thing kind of unravels, you know.
All right. Do you want to go to the podium?
I'll try.
We provided a podium for you.
This thing is it's a fragile mood piece based on it's a old desert theme called Sandwriting. And I hope I don't truncate the mood, because I'm going to try to keep it up, but it should come off.
It better, because we have, at great expense, 8 violins today.
That. Yeah, it's great. It sounds marvelous.
Look, and that's a hunk of money for some sandwriting, Hugh. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, the distinguished conductor, Hugh Downs, to conduct his own composition, Sandwriting.
Hugh Downs conducting the NBC Orchestra, performing his own original composition, Sandwriting, on the January 14th, 1963 edition of the NBC Merv Griffin Show that aired on daytime on NBC between October 1st, 62 and March 29th, 63. Audio courtesy Phil Gries, atvaudio.com. Hugh Downs, another person that you've come to know, Phil, through ATV Audio.
Well, we also got to know him together as well. We did a show a number of years ago on the Sounds of Lost Television, TV Confidential, with Hugh Downs. He's going to be 98 years old February 14th.
God bless him.
It's amazing, yes. And he was most appreciative of a lot of the Jack Parr Tonight Show material that I had sent him. And he was particularly intrigued listening to this particular Merv Griffin show from 1963, where he conducts the NBC Orchestra.
And as Steve just alluded to, one of the things that made the daytime show unique is that it did not have a house conductor per se, but you would feature the best of music from week to week, and that was another thing that made it special.
There was a conductor named Al Finale. Was that his name, Phil?
He took over as the regular conductor after that interim beginning period where they had guests.
Yeah, because a lot of the tapes that I heard, they credit Al Finale as conducting the NBC orchestra. I wish I could have seen the NBC show, but I was a kid at the time and was in school, so I never got to see it when it was on. But I did see the Westinghouse show from the beginning and all the ones that followed. And I was grateful for getting the opportunity to see the Merv Griffin tapings in person. And those were very, very interesting, too, because you do get to see some behind the scenes.
So when I had sent you the NBC material, did it meet your expectations?
Oh, it exceeded my expectations. It exceeded it, and especially the Tonight Show clip that you have with Sophia Loren. That was Merv's first remote, where he would go out with a 16-millimeter film crew, and they would just shoot an interview. He did one with John Lennon. I think they were at Cannes in France at the time. And that clip has never been shown, but a lot of the philosophy at the Griffin Show was if the stars can't come to us, we'll go to them. And so Merv would tape a show on Friday, jet over to London or Paris and shoot some interviews with stars, and then come back on a Sunday night and do the show on Monday. And I get tired just thinking about it, having such a hectic schedule like that. But they wanted to get an edge on Carson so that they could present people, who typically didn't appear on American talk shows. People like James Bond, 007, Sean Connery, and Sophia Loren and Geraldine Chaplin. The international stars who were big at the time in the 60s. Peter Ustinov, Peter O'Toole, who later came and did an interview with Merv at NBC, and that was one of the first disasters in the show's history. You could read in the book. I won't give it away.
No, we want to save that story for the book. That book being The Merv Griffin Show, the Inside Edition, by our guest Steve Randisi, a complete history of The Merv Griffin Show in all of its forms, daytime, late night, and syndicated. The Merv Griffin Show, the Inside Story, is available through our friends at Bear Manor Media. You can also find it at Amazon.com and wherever books are sold online. Steve Randisi will be back in a few weeks, along with Phil Gries, as we continue our special look at the NBC daytime version of The Merv Griffin Show as part of the Sounds of Lost Television. Phil Gries, founder and owner of archival television audio, ATV Audio.com. We'll take a quick time out, then Greg Airbar will join us for our DVD report next on TV Confidential.
Oh, ringle, wrangle, jing-a-jong, jangle. A mighty fine horse, I'm in love, of course, 'cause I got me a pretty woman's love. Oh, ringle, wrangle, jing-a-jong, jangle. A mighty fine horse, I'm in love, of course, 'cause I got me a pretty woman.
Got a product or service that you want our listeners to know about? Become an advertiser or underwriter of TV Confidential and let our brand help promote your brand. For more information, go to televisionconfidential.com/advertise or visit the TV Confidential page at advertisecast.com. Ed Robertson along with Tony Figueroa and Donna Allen from Story Salon, Southern California's longest-running, regularly performing live storytelling ensemble, which I understand is at a new location.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. We're moving actually to the Party Art Studio on Laurel Canyon Boulevard, 5302 Laurel Canyon. It's a new art gallery, and it's
beautiful.
It's beautiful. Donna and I have been involved with Story Salon for the last 9+ years. We're going to be in an art gallery now. We're going to have a $5 cover, some nice refreshments, and a wonderful eclectic evening of storytelling.
Which is a great environment because, it as you say, the word is eclectic, and for $5, it's a great evening of entertainment. You can't ask for much more.
No, not at all. And these stories, some of them are funny, some of them are tragic, some of them are a little off the wall, but we just have a wonderful time keeping the art of storytelling alive.
And you can find out more about it by going to storysalon.com.
Accredited by Guinness World Records, welcome to Archival Television Audio Incorporated, a peerless TV soundtrack archive, preserving the audio from television's first 3 decades, the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, the golden and silver age of television.
For more information, go to atvaudio.com.
We're Biffle and Schuster,
How do you do? We turned up here to spread some cheer and entertain you.
That's right, we're Biffle and Schuster. I'm Benny Biffle, and this is Sammy Schuster. And we're here to tell you about this amazing DVD, not BVD, DVD, that just came out from a company called Kino Lorber. And you know what Kino Lorber means, don't you, Sammy?
I sure do. It means sales. Lots of sales.
This collection is called The Misadventures of...
Biffle and Schuster.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys
it's terrific.
Good. Yeah, you know what Joe Dante says about them?
What did he say?
He says, forehead slapping funny. What impresses is the dogged authenticity to the era, which makes it all the more hilarious.
Absolutely. Accent on the high.
We're
Biffle and Schuster, as you can see. No one else can make that statement louder than we.
They say we're soporific,
and it's probably we. Because we're Biffle and Schuster. Oh, we're Biffle and Schuster. No, we're Biffle and Schuster.
B-I-F-F-L Biffle. S-H-W-S to Schuster.
Biffle and Schuster. Need we say more?
Available wherever DVDs are sold through our friends at Kino Lorber.
All right, you loafers, get back to work. What am I paying you for? Why is he yelling at his shoes?
Alexa users, you can now listen to TV Confidential on demand on your smart speaker just by saying, Alexa, play TV Confidential. If you don't have the TV Confidential Alexa skill, you can download it for free at the Alexa Skill Store on Amazon or go to televisionconfidential.com/Alexa.